If you're renovating your bathroom and trying to figure out which tile won't look dated in 10 years, I want to show you 3 styles that have been around for 50 years or longer. Hi, I'm Sandra from Habitual Homes. We're a design build firm in Toronto, and I spend a lot of time looking at both old and new bathrooms. I'm not here to tell you what you should do, but I can show you what's actually stood the test of time and why I think it works. Let's start with small format tiles, hexagons, penny rounds, 1-inch squares. These go all the way back to Greek and Roman mosaics, but they really became common in residential bathrooms during the Victorian era in the late 1800s. And the reason they've lasted is pretty practical. Small tiles can handle movement in older buildings without cracking. But beyond that, the scale just works. When you're standing in a bathroom, these proportions feel right. They don't overwhelm the space, and because each tile is small, the grout lines create a texture that reads as classic rather than stark. You see them on floors as wainscoting, even on shower walls. White is the most common, but they also come in black, soft colors, or natural stone. The key is the size and the grid. It's been working for over a century. Next is subway tile, 3 by 6 inch white rectangles in a running bond pattern. This style came out of the early 1900s when New York was building its subway system. They needed something durable, easy to clean, and bright enough to reflect light on the ground. So they used white glazed ceramic tiles. It moved into residential bathrooms shortly after, and it's been there ever since. The reason it works is simplicity. It doesn't fight with anything else in the room. It's not trying to be decorative on its own. It's just a clean, functional background. The proportions are straightforward, the white reflects light, and it doesn't demand attention. You can use it floor to ceiling or just as a top surround or as a backsplash. It's unpretentious, and that's why it lasted. The third option is natural stone. Marble, limestone, travertine. This is the oldest material on the list. Stone was used in baths long before manufactured tile even existed. Roman baths, Turkish hammams, European states. Stone has been the go-to for centuries. The reason it lasts is that it's a material, not a style. It ages, it develops a patina, it doesn't look new in the way that a manufactured product does. So it doesn't feel dated when trends shift. The key here is sticking to neutral tones, whites, warm creams, soft beiges, even taupes. Stone that has warmth and natural variation. When you choose stone that looks like it could have come from anywhere in the last 200 years, it won't feel locked to this particular decade. Now let's talk about what tends to date weakly, because I think understanding why something doesn't last is just as useful as knowing what does. First, patterns and shapes that feel very specific to right now. Geometric patterns, arabesque or fish scale shapes, oversized subway tiles in unusual layouts. These can look great, but they're often a reaction to what came before. And that means they're tied to a moment. So the more a tile is trying to make a statement, the more likely it is to feel dated once the next thing comes along. If you love pattern, consider bringing it through something you can change more easily. Wallpaper, paint, textiles, and keep the tiles simple. Second, finishes that are having a moment. High gloss everything, ultra matte surfaces, heavily textured tiles that feel very tactile. Finishes tend to cycle faster than shapes or colors. So a simple glaze on a classic tile shape will outlast a finish that's trying too hard to be current. If you're drawn to a specific finish, just ask yourself, is this about the tile itself or is it about what's popular right now? And the third, and I think this is the biggest one, tile colors that box you in. Not because they're trendy, but because the undertones clash with everything else Or the pattern is so busy that you can't change anything without the whole room falling apart. For example, gray tile that has a cool flat undertone. If you later want to bring in warm wood, brass fixtures, or change your paint color, the gray might fight with everything. Or beige tile with a strong orange undertone. It only works with certain colors, and the moment you try to shift the palette, it all clashes. Busy pattern tiles in multiple colors create the same problem. Everything else in the room has to work around that palette, so you're losing flexibility. And this is why neutral stone or clean white tile gives you so much more room. You can change your paint, swap your vanity, update fixtures, and the tile still works. It's not about the tile being boring, it's about being a foundation that doesn't limit you as your taste or needs change over time. So here's the pattern I see. The tiles that last are simple in shape, neutral in color, and made from materials that have been around long enough to prove themselves. They're not trying to be the focal point. They're creating a backdrop that lets you change everything else around them. If you're planning a bathroom renovation in Toronto and want to walk through your tile options or talk through any part of your project, you can book a consultation with us at habitualhomes.ca.